play the game while you listen.
What's going on here?
But this ragtag crew of adventurers is covering the problems of the average player.
Where should I begin?
Discussing the home brews, modules, and the latest content for all things D&D.
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
It's Chef Bolgg and the Pirate Captain's recipes for everything.
What you're feeling is so normal and perfectly natural.
With your host, the Pirate Captain.
Everybody loves me, and I don't know why. I'm an asshole. I really am. The Pirate Captain is a dick.
Chef Bolgg.
Let me take a couple steps back so I can, really get this point across.
It's bullshit!
And Loke the Bard.
Instead of making a deal with Cthulhu or, a greater devil, you found an imp who was willing to give you dark vision in exchange for a gallon of blood.
With a little mayhem, mischief, and a bit of bardic charisma, it's time for the show.
Oh, that's right. We're back at it again, boyos and boyees and boyettes and all the other fun things out there. I am the Pirate Captain with always me bestest buddy Bolgg.
Hey, this time you can see me. I accidentally drank an invisibility potion last time.
I see that. I told you not to go through my chest again.
It.
Don't you start.
I wasn't there.
Don't start with me with that. All right, this is not the time to be doing that. I told you to stay out of me chest of hidden knickknacks and things, and you drank all me best potions too. Now I'm potionless. And of course, Loke the Bard.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, of course you're here. Not by choice, but because you're a fan favorite.
He's the one you said not to be grabbing chests and booty.
Yeah, but that was a different type of chest. I told stay out of me other chest. I'm just saying. We. You know what? I'm not getting into this. This is not like I've tried putting up an anti-Bolgg sign. That never works. You always bust through me captain's quarters.
A sign that says use other door. Bolgg just makes his own.
There's another door.
It doesn't mean you make another door, buddy. You got to go through the door. Oh, what is happening?
Don't follow.
I'm not going to sit here and explain to you the door thing. We'll be here for a whole episode explaining Chef Bolgg the doors. What is happening is Chef Bolgg and the Pirate Captain's recipes for everything. I am the titular Pirate Captain along with my bestest buddies, Bolgg and Loke. We are a D&D podcast where we actually talk about the game. We don't play the game. That's for other goobers to do. We are gooberless. We talk about the rules, different things that are going on with the D&D community, maybe updates to the game, things that we've come across, problems, all sorts of other stuff. And it's always there. But of course, since this is a podcast, we got to get through those obligatory podcast things like share, subscribe, wherever you're watching this, listening to this, or doing any of those kind of things, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, anywhere you go. Really helps us out, and we enjoy it. And let your friends know, let your enemies know. There's nothing better than letting your enemies know that, hey, look, I don't like this podcast, but you should listen to it because you'll love it. You'll do great things. That's what I do. We are everywhere. Just look up for us on Chef Bolgg and the Pirate Captain's recipes for everything. If you don't see these three faces, it's probably not us. And that's us on Facebook. And then this is us three, our faces on YouTube. We appreciate you. We could really use some more subscribers. We're slowly growing in there. We have a bunch of videos. You can always go check out our last and latest stuff. That is what we do. We just want to make sure that the content's coming out. We got some big things in store for you. We are working on, we did the Labor Day special last Monday. No, not last Monday. It was Monday before. I'm terrible with dates. Absolutely terrible with dates. We did the Monday before, and you can go check that out, where we kind of talk about jobs in D&D and kind of how it works with your background. It was a fun episode. And then there's always something out there. Today, we're actually going to be getting into some of the new stuff. We talked about Baldur's Gate recently when that was kind of new and fresh. And there's some other stuff coming out about that. If there's anything good that we think is going to be coming from there, we'll definitely talk about that. But today, we're actually going to be focusing on some new stuff. They released a new player test stuff. Playtest 7. And we want to talk about it because there's issues that we have. There's some things that we enjoy and some things that we have. And we just want to share our concerns with you. And because maybe you've played it, maybe you can come out there and tell us where we're wrong on it. You can drop a comment on the Facebook or email us at bolgandpc@gmail.com. I have it pulled up here. Where do we want to start? Do we want to start with the fighter or do we want to go to the warlock?
Well, we probably want to give the fighter some love because we haven't We haven't talked much about the fighter recently.
Fair enough. Let's do that. We'll go to the fighter. Now, this is actually my favorite thing that I think that they've brought into the game, because this is something that I've wanted for a long time. And I've wanted to see it either in the monk or the fighter, and I thought it was great. And it's the brawler. It is a knuckle duster. It is somebody. It's like you're boxing or you're doing something like that. When I want to do a fighter and stuff like that, I don't always want to be a sword and board fighter. I want to be like a pugilist, whatever you want to. I love the flowers too, by the way, buddy. But I've always wanted a pugilist, and I think it's cool because they're giving you a 1d6 plus your strength modifier in place of normal damage of your unarmed strike, which is really good because only monks get like a bonus to their damage. And I think that if they follow the chart, I think that if they follow like if they gave them their own d6 chart or like monks unarmed chart, I think that would make this class like really good. But I like the fact that you're in.
They've decided to go more with a flat number for the majority of it,
but to me that's not enough, because eventually like the health is just going to scale. That a d6 isn't going to do a whole lot.
If you're not holding a shield or a weapon of any kind, it goes up to a d8.
Okay, but only 1d8. So let's say you get to level 10.
1d8.
You get to level 10 and you're fighting what's a common creature to fight at a level 10, like maybe like an owlbear or something like that, and you're trying to fight that. It's got a lot of health. Like a d8's not a whole lot to kind of like even out that damage.
Yeah, and you're not getting the like what the monk gets, where your hands count as magical weapons and change damage types and that kind of stuff either. So,
but I'm glad that they didn't do that, because if they did that, then we would see kind of like too much of like the issue I have with bards, where bards can do everything.
Yeah.
Now you'd kind of see like you would end up being you'd want to be a brawler over a monk.
Yeah, but your brawler now, when he's fighting a werewolf or a vampire, is going to have a hard time.
Well, then that becomes, they put in there, there's the design note that magic items are coming. Maybe they'll have a set of silver brass knuckles that don't count as a weapon, but
you just need You just need knuckles +1.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. Give them knuckles +1. But I'm glad. Like it doesn't need to be a magic. Like unless you're an Eldritch Knight, I don't think you really need to be a magical fighter. I think fighter not being a magical person's an okay thing by me. Like
and technically this is a subclass, so your brawler fighter can still pick up that +1 sword and use it just fine.
Yeah.
So if you're fighting something that he can't punch.
Now it just says you have to be unarmed. I'm wondering if that's like a completely unarmed, or if you can do kind of like a monk where it's like an unarmed strike, but you use your staff on the second hand or something like that. You see what I'm saying?
Well, to get the D8, you would have to be completely unarmed. But I think that's why they're giving you the D6 if you're
both hands though.
If you got something in your one hand, whether it's a table leg or a shield, you're only getting the D6. But if both your hands are empty, you get the D8.
So, but that's the question though. Like now, what if we're looking at it that we have, like I said, you have one hand that's got a sword and one hand, so you're still like you're unarmed technically in your right hand.
Yeah,
and I think they mean completely unarmed. Okay. No shield, no weapon.
Yeah, because even if you had a shield and no weapons in either hand, you're still only getting the D6.
Fair enough. Okay, because that's going to be my question about it. Is like, how are we going to read that? And how are we going to contextualize that? Because like it's going to become important, because I guarantee you there's going to be a player that's going to ask that question. Is like, can I have something in my offhand, like a mace or something like that? And do we consider like knuckles? Let's say we do brass knuckles +1, so they can't.
That's where you get more tricky, because technically that's a weapon.
Yeah, they're gonna.
Are you armed? Unless like they're saying with the like you said, the note there where, they have put a special disclaimer in the magic weapon or magic item chart to make the knuckles not count as a weapon.
Yeah.
It's more like a ring.
Yeah, maybe that's what they do, is they give you a ring of like of unarmed strikes that just makes your unarmed strikes count as magical or something like that. I could see that, and that's pretty cool.
Ring of +1 unarmed strikes.
I wouldn't go that far. I do like this. Like they're actually doing really good stuff with this brand of fighter, the improvised expert. You're proficient with improvised weapons. Whenever you finish a long rest, choose a weapon to property from one-handed item list, or one from the two-handed list, and it just gives you like It's like having Tavern Brawler as a feat without actually having to take Tavern
Yeah.
Brawler, and I like that.
Yeah, but this also is adding in the weapons masteries that the new fighter is going to be based around. Where you'll be able to use that. Like if you pick up a one-handed table, the table leg, and are using it like a club, you could now sap, slow, or vex.
I like that though. This makes me excited to play the fighter though, because this is one of the classes like I've never, and I know that we're not supposed to think of monks like Jackie Chan style monks, but I've always wanted to like to play that Jackie Chan style monk, and I think this is going to be the closest thing. Because think about it, you attempt to do a ranged attack using a chair to vex the opponent. Like that to me sounds like a lot of cool, like really cool. Like it's going to be really fun to RP this in like a tavern. Like you bring in a player.
As a DM, I'm going to be a little bit of a dick about this one.
Yeah.
If you pick up a playing card and say you're paper cutting people,
yeah, I'm not.
I ain't gonna let that fly because.
Well, I mean,
the way the rules are written, it doesn't really matter what you're picking up. You're getting the same. I think they even in the video when they announced this, they're saying if somebody picked up a chicken bone, he could fight with it. It's like, come on, that's taking it a little too. You got to take.
Well, I mean, a playing card thrown with enough force and technique can cut through like an orange, so it would stick into them. Wouldn't do much, but you know, it'd be a corner of it stuck into them.
I'm gonna agree with Loke though, because sometimes we get a little too crazy with some of these things, and we allow it to like. And I'm down to like let it happen, but not like let it happen. I want to see what you got, but like if you're just picking up a playing card, like chances are these are probably worn playing cards. You'd have to have like a fresh deck of playing cards that you're throwing this stuff from. Like if it's not a fresh deck, where because the more you use a deck, the more they wear out and the ends get kind of like flimsy and stuff like that. They're not really going to do anything. Right. So chances are of a fresh deck being there, unless you have your own fresh deck. If you have I pull from my pocket a fresh deck of cards and I'm going to throw one as a improvised ranged attack, I'm willing to hear you out and see what we got. But I'm not, if you just pick one up off the table, I'm going to call shenanigans on that one.
Yeah.
It'd be like Gambit, start carrying around metal playing cards.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Now, if you did that, if you actually had special made metal throwing sharpened playing cards, that's different. But if you're just picking them up off of what's around you, and then, okay, you pick up the mug and you hit somebody with your mug. How many times do you hit somebody with the mug before the mug shatters?
What kind of mug?
Yeah, like the
so
ceramic.
You got a glass mug. Okay, so
the glass.
I got a pewter one.
Yeah.
So
now pewter obviously wouldn't, but I'm just talking what most taverns have.
What do you think? You think in a place that gets like ransacked daily, you think I'm gonna just have glass mugs? You know how much it is to replace those versus these pewter ones?
They're probably what do you call it? Ceramic, not pottery. Pottered
those
mugs,
are expensive too, right? I'm trying to.
Yeah, clay mugs.
Clay mug. Yeah.
Upper class like taverns and stuff may have the glass, the metal, the wood.
Yeah.
Because metal would be expensive.
No, like cheaper metals, like pewter, wouldn't be too bad.
They got to get it to them. It's heavy to move.
Well, I mean, you remember the Jobs episode? I'm sure we know a guild artisan that does this.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I just anybody that has access to clay can fire some pottery pretty cheap. I mean.
Yeah, I think clay and bone are probably going to be your two most common.
Yeah,
like horns and stuff like that. But you could probably use a horn as a weapon.
You could use a horn.
Yeah, the horn's probably not going to break a single hit, but like you take a clay mug and you hit somebody upside the head with it, it'll do a lot of damage. It's kind of like a bottle too. Then
it's kind of like weapons in Pathfinder. Like when you use guns and stuff like that, every time you fire, you have a chance of it malfunctioning. And so you would just roll. Okay, so you roll and you roll for the attack. You hit with the attack. Now you roll a percentile, and you just increase the percentile of what you have to roll to keep the item from breaking.
Or each item has its own HP, and when you deal damage with that item, you deal that damage to the item.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that limits how much the item could do.
They don't have any kind of rules in here that cover any of this, though. So
yeah. Right.
That's
Well, I
right,
mean,
yeah.
we're pretty much like we're brainstorming,
Yeah.
homebrewing it right here. I
Well,
don't mind. I
All
don't mind
objects though are immortal. They don't break.
I don't mind the HP thing, but like I said, that just limits to how much damage that the item can do, essentially. Because if it only has like 5 HP, you're only going to do 5. The most you could do with it is 5.
well, no, that doesn't limit that. If you deal more damage than the item has HP, then the item shatters when you use it. Like
Then
if
you need an 8 HP number for every single possible
Yeah,
item.
I think
Right.
I think the percentile thing works the best because let's say I make an attack against Loke and I do 4 damage and I got to roll for the bottle. And let's say it starts out, if it's a glass bottle, it's a 50% chance for it to break. So I roll, I get 51. All right, the item doesn't break. Next turn comes around, I hit him again. But because I rolled with it last time, now the percentage goes up by 10%, and I roll 52 this time. Well, now the item breaks. Or if I roll 61, the item manages to say, and it just kind of continuously, the more you use it, the harder it gets to keep the item.
Yeah, and then like, okay, your bottle broke, but now you can use it as a slashing.
Yeah, there you go. See, I think that
Yeah.
works out the best. Like that's
Yeah,
Wizards, give us a job, all right? Just come on.
Well-
We could solve all your problems right here. Like getting
the way
rid of
I was
gold.
looking at it was like if a baby had a clay mug and accidentally smacked you with it, it'd probably do a little bit of damage. But if Brock Lesnar came along with a clay mug, yeah, that clay mug is gone, and so is your face.
The real question is why aren't we using the baby instead of the glass? Like use that as a mace.
Yeah.
And with this new fighter, you can.
Yeah. You're dual wielding babies.
Tied together by umbilical cords.
Just baby nunchucks would be the best.
Well, now we're getting into the monk then.
Oh man, that would be. I mean, it's still an improvised weapon. All right, you don't see how many people are out there. You go to the weapon store and you're like, yes, yeah, I see you have nunchucks, but do you have babies tied together with a string? That's the real nunchuck. Well, I'm fresh out. They're just those other adventures over there. They bought them right there. You just see a couple guys over there and they're playing with their nunchucks. Oh man, I wanted those. Do you at least got like, I don't know, a baby tied to a stick? Just now you got a mace. But
Is this the 90s? We're going back to dead baby jokes.
I love old dead baby jokes. Those are the best. Oh, I do want to. Here's what I don't like about this new fighter, and this is what I want to improve. So, unarmed specialist. This needs to be an ongoing level thing that needs to be tied back into unarmed expert.
Yeah.
So what an unarmed specialist does, for those of you who can't see or don't know, your unarmed strikes improve to a D8 if you aren't holding any weapons or a shield. When you make an attack roll, the D8 becomes a D10. So it just pretty much, that needs to continuously scale, like with either your proficiency or something. Like I just don't think.
This is the downside to this being a subclass. Since subclasses only get improvements, on every 3rd or 4th level.
But that's fine. You treat
This
it
has
like
been pushed. Yeah.
Go for it, man. I'm sorry.
They should have, okay, you get the unarmed at 3, and then it improves at 7, then it improves again at 15. But the way it's set up right now, it doesn't improve again until you're level 18, and by that point, it's
you're useless. Like I think that they need to scale it like they do cantrips. Every so many levels, it gets an extra. Like
level 15, your proficiency is what? +4?
Hold on, I'll pull it up right here. 5.
+5. Okay, so you're hitting somebody with a two-handed improvised weapon. So we assume it's a.
Well, this one's the unarmed strike is the one we're looking at right now.
Yeah, so this one would be 18, but it's a 6. So regardless,
even the 15, like the level 15, which you already went past it.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm coming down to the brawler.
There
I was
there
coming down to the brawler.
So level 15, the improvised specialist, you get to add your proficiency bonus to the damage roll. So that would be a D12 +5.
And whatever your weapon is becomes a 12. Because that's not what it is. But prior to level 15, that's not what your improvised weapon damage Do they have the actual improvised weapon rules in here? Or
I didn't see them. I'm gonna say here's what I would do. Just
if
me.
I remember right, improvised weapons start out at like a D4.
Yeah, it's D4.
So that's where, Mr. Producer, he's on his off day. He gets one of those every year, and he chose to take it today. But here's my how I would do it, and you guys can tell me if this may be too much or too little. But I think that it's like just you can leave it at a D6, D6, D8, but every so many levels you just get an extra one. Like if you change maybe with your proficiency, like every time you go up in proficiency, so you're 3, you get a 2. So at 5, you get 1 extra die, and then 2 extra dies at level 9, and 3 extra dies at level 13, and then 4 extra dies at level 17. That's when your proficiency changes. You just give it like an extra D6 or the D8 if you're completely like that. To me, I think like it kind of evens it out and gives you a little bit of a damage buff and stuff like that. You still get, you're getting all the other things. We haven't even talked about the advantage feat that it gives. I just kind of like skipped because I think that was like that. I think the unarmed specialist, I think, is probably the most important part of this whole thing because it's so bad and it needs to be set back. Like, give these guys some damage. It's okay to give lower level characters a little bit of damage or some scaling on these lower level abilities.
Yeah, and the only problem with that, though, then it becomes very monk-like. That the monk scales like that.
You're essentially making a monk that doesn't have magical hands.
Yeah,
like that's what the brawler is a monk without magical hands.
Right, but this
actually you could also
brawler still has all the abilities of a regular fighter.
Yeah,
because this is just a subclass. They still get the regular weapon masteries. They still get the regular number of attacks that a fighter gets at each level. So it's
and I'm still looking at this level 15 feat. Just looking at it, it's if you have a 20 strength, so you get a +5, and then your +5 proficiency. You're looking at 21 to 32 points of damage per hit if they hit, and they get 2 attacks at that point. So it's not terrible, but it's
2 attacks
also not
plus
magical.
2 plus an action surge.
Yeah, and an unarmed strike from earlier.
Yeah, but your action surge is only going to come back on a short rest. So you get that how many times?
You get at level 15, you're still at 1 because it's 16 when you 17 when you get the second one.
So that's really not offering a whole lot.
Right.
So like I said,
4 weapon attacks and then an offhand attack, except you used your bonus to do the action surge, so you don't get that offhand.
Yeah. So
it's just 4 attacks.
Like I said, I think that the scaling on it's just a little low. Like I think if you just give them an extra, like you could leave it at a D6, D8.
63, 84 points of damage.
Yeah,
level 15 is
that's the max you can make out though.
Well, no, that's the if you had average. If you had 5 well, no, 20 in strength plus your proficiency, that's 10, so you get an automatic 10 bonus, and then a D12, and that's rolling a 1. Oh, no, it would be 11. Hold on.
Yeah, so
I'm miscounting. Yeah,
I'm telling you, the mass, like the average of it, like even if you do max damage, all I'm saying, like you can leave it as the 16, D6. Yeah. I'm not saying that the dice scale anymore because that's what a monk would do. But every time you get a proficiency level, you just get 1 extra dice. Yeah. All the way to 50. The way.
Okay. Well, if we're gonna do that, I think because a D6 may be a little bit much, but D4 or D6 if you're not holding anything.
No, I give the D6, D8 is just fine. Like I think that's fine because it's all you're only getting a max of them.
Every attack you're doing
2, 3, 4. So by level 17, you're only getting 4 dice right there on that.
Yeah, but that's 46 per attack. Plus 10.
What is that? That's like a fireball, which is a level 3 spell.
Yeah, but you can only do 1 fireball per turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This you could do 4 times.
Now, but at the law of averages, I'm going to tell you how many times are you actually going to do max damage with 46.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying. Like I think that if you just give it the 46 and the 4 or the 48, I think that that'll average out, and that's just the way it stays. You don't need to change it like that. It's
I
something
think
to give you a scale.
I think that's going a little too high, because that's almost smite levels of damage at
Yeah,
that point.
44 I'd be more comfortable with. And that's like at level, what, 18, you get your +6. So
Well, I mean, that's the big problem that people have with monks right now is that their 44, like their D4 damage scaling is kind of rough, especially in the beginning. Like in the beginning, it's easy when you're fighting off like little minions. That's one thing, but then you start fighting things that have like 1,000 health and stuff like that, like 8 to 1,000 health. Plus, you have to beat the armor class of some of these higher items and stuff like that, and you got to hope that it doesn't have resistance to whatever damage you're doing and all these other things. So that's just where like we're thinking about it. You're thinking about it as like straight flat numbers. You're forgetting about all the mitigating factors that do this, because brawling unarmed strikes are what, bludgeoning. So
well, we're thinking about the straight numbers, but that's because earlier it had mentioned there's going to be items that'll help. So that'll be the other mitigating factors in the other direction.
I don't want to. Well, those aren't in yet, and I want to sit here and say from what we have. So we have the monsters that we know. Like there's bludgeoning resistance and stuff like that. There's no magic to these guys already. We've already said that. The big difference right now between them and the monks is the fact that they don't have natural magic to their hands to make them, magical weapons and stuff like that. So like I said, that right there. They're useless against a vampire and a vampire and ghosts and stuff like that.
Yeah, because
there's going to be.
They're not mystical technique. They're just straight beating you down.
They can still pick up the silver spoon.
Yeah.
Throw the spoon. Or maybe throw the silver baby.
Yeah.
Silver candelabras.
Silver spoon to fight the werewolf.
As you enter
wooden stake to fight the vampire.
You're fighting a vampire. As you enter the room, you notice there's a silver spoon, a baby with a silver pacifier. I throw the baby with a silver pacifier. You're there to protect the baby. I throw the baby with the silver pacifier. Roll for attack, I guess. I don't know why the baby thing is still stuck with me, but I think it's hilarious. But
coat your hands in garlic. There you go.
There you go. I'm down for that. But the flaw with the resistances and stuff like that. Like I think that it'll even itself out. Just keeping it, like I said, a D6 or a D8, because it's not like you're getting those at any point like super high level. So level 3, you're still, or level 8. To level 9. 9 is when you would have three dice, 3d6s or 3d8s. You finally get the 2 extra attacks at level 11. So yeah, I think it evens itself out just to do it like the d6 and d8.
The non-brawler fighter who's using the great axe or the great club, or the great sword or whatever, is doing either 2d6 or 1d12 with the same number of attacks. So if you're given this particular subclass 3d6, you're already jumping him up above the armed equivalents.
Yeah, because you're going to make more attacks with unarmed strikes than you are going to be able with a great axe. Swinging a great axe takes a lot more.
They make the same number of attacks.
Yeah, but you're throwing hands.
Yeah, he doesn't get any extra attacks as part of this.
Right. This isn't like the monk who's attacking with speed and precision.
Yeah, he doesn't get flurry of blows like the monk does.
Haymakers and uppercuts. This is slow moving, slamming strikes. So I'm saying
Southpaw, baby.
D4s.
I'm fighting Southpaw. Yeah. That's what it is.
D4s.
Yeah, and they do give you
the,
like where you get you can do the grapple with your bonus action and
yeah, that's the dirty
they give
fighting,
you some they give you some of that little extra, but it's still not you're getting the same number of attacks as a regular champion fighter. The dirty fighting gives you advantage. It's the one above at level 7, the grappling expert.
Oh yeah. You can make one unarmed strike as a bonus action. When you use an unarmed strike in this way, you must choose to grapple or shove as an option. So you're not even doing really damage with it. In addition, you have to wait till the next turn.
And that goes with the new unarmed strike rules that this playtest has, where you can either do damage, grapple, or shove, but it's not the bonus action. And obviously, they're giving you it as an option as a bonus action, which gets kind of kind of funky with the the offhand attack rules. I mean, are they the only ones that can make an offhand unarmed strike now?
Yeah, that one's gonna have to be a question that we're gonna have to see when we talk if we talk about the monk. But I just think that with the I just think the damage is kind of low for it. And I think that's because that's the big problem with the monk too. Like that people have had issues in the past with the monk is like it just doesn't scale well with damage. And I think that if you give it to this is going to kind of help like even it out because it's not casting spells, it's not doing any of that. All it's doing is throwing hands. So that's my only argument to it. And I think I think they should scale, but I think it should go like you start with the D6, it goes up to a D8, and then goes up to a D10, then goes up to a D12 as you're leveling. Yeah.
But
that wouldn't be bad either.
But then you're not over what, because if you're ending at the same D12 that the Great Axe user is using, you're not unbalancing the subclass. But I mean, at the end, what is it? 3 extra attacks at level 20. So that's 4 attacks plus if you get a bonus action attack.
Yeah, you're supposed to be throwing hands. You're supposed to be more nimble than the others.
And I'm advocating for what you're saying, Captain. I'm saying we should do the step up with the proficiency. I'm just saying keep it at a D4. That way your potential is 4 to 16 with the plus 10 and just take out the difference between having stuff in your hands or not. Because I think you shouldn't be able to do like just make it a saver not where you don't have, if you have something in your hands, you can't unarmed strike.
Yeah, and this playtest also they've nerfed some of the big damage abilities that fighters have historically used. The Great Weapon Master and the Sharpshooter, they don't have the plus 10 features any longer in this playtest.
Which is good because those are some kind of like game breaking feats. And we may get into that one today, or we may save that for another episode.
Right.
But
so just the scale, the amount of damage all fighters are doing, I believe is going to be scaled down in this edition compared to what they currently are.
Yeah, because if you get lucky on the roll, you end up being like uber powerful at the start of the game. Like you could just like you're getting a free plus 10 to damage if you get lucky on your stat rolls. This is kind of why I enjoy like the core stats of like here, just use this. And I know it sucks, but it keeps
standard array so that everybody's got the same numbers, that you don't wind up with the 20 until you've leveled up to at least 6, 8, whatever.
You may be able to get it at level 4 depending upon racial modifiers, but but yeah, I'm glad they kind of took that away, but it does ask where you're going to get your damage from with your fighter. I tell you what, I'm not glad that they took away. And moving on into our next one and talking about the updates to the Warlock.
The Warlock.
This is gonna. I'm gonna freaking choke you already. I already know where you're trying to go with this. And I'm gonna choke you. I'm gonna fly down to Florida, strangle you. And
they're forgetting a very, very important feat from Tasha's. And if all these books are backwards compatible,
which they're not, like I'm going to tell you as a DM, I'm not.
I don't think they are either. But I think they're forgetting that with this change to your Pact of the Blade, Pact of the Tome, Pact of the Chains, Pact of the Talisman are now becoming invocations. And the Pact of the Blade and the Pact of the Tome have no prereqs. And the feat in Tasha's, you can take any single invocation that has no prereqs. So with that 4th level feat, all of a sudden you can now take a Pact of the Blade and have a sword that you can summon at any time as a fighter.
Yeah. And that's going to make you really strong going in, especially because it counts as a magical weapon. And you didn't pay a gallon of blood for it. I don't care what anybody says. There's no way. You owe me something.
How you got that feat is
I'm going to fucking murder you. I swear to God. I will kill you, and I'll make it look like a bloody accident. I do like some of the changes that are coming to Warlock.
Yeah.
I like the fact that Eldritch evocations are going to first level. Like, I think that kind of like, because you feel kind of like Eldritch Blast feels really weak without agonizing blast equipped to it.
Although at the first level one, you have to take either Pact of the Blade or Pact of the Tome. Because those are the only ones that don't have the requirement.
You gain one evocation of your choice, such as Pact of the Blade or Pact of the Tome. Evocation described, and the evocation is prerequisite.
Oh, it says such. I thought it said in the video that they made it
gain
sound
one
like it
evocation of your
had to be
choice.
one of those two.
Yeah, no, it says such as. It doesn't say like it has to be those. If an evocation is a prerequisite, you must meet it to learn the evocation, and you can learn the evocation at the same time.
All right, never mind. I
Yeah, because
misspoke.
I'm going to tell you that right there is going to make like it feels good to have your charisma modifier added to agonizing blast. Like without it, or sorry, your charisma modifier added to Eldritch Blast because of agonizing blast. Because I'm going to tell you, there have been many times that you just kind of like roll crappily and you hit 1, and that's all the damage you do until like level 3 when you used to get your or level 2 till you got your evocations.
Well, they've actually, I mean, why you would do this with anything other than Eldritch Blast, I don't know. They've made the agonizing blast better to where it now can be applied. You choose whatever cantrip you want it to be applied to.
That's cool. That's good.
So if you want to use Firebolt instead of Eldritch Blast, you now can.
Oh, imagine, because then you can do like shocking grasp, so you can make that more melee style Warlock, and have that, because like shocking grasp is a really good cantrip, and to have that with you in melee combat and get your charisma modifier to it is really good. Because I believe evocation wizards, and I know that they don't have the evocation wizards really anymore, like those schools of that have gone by the wayside.
Well, actually, the new the new evocation is in this play test.
Oh, I'll have to take a look at that one. If we get time, we'll take a look at that one.
Yeah.
But having that, they got like the bonus to their spells, even their cantrips and stuff like that. But warlocks weren't, so it kind of helps out. Like we were sitting here talking about, oh, we're worried about the fighter kind of like scaling out with damage, but some of these classes just do straight damage, and then they offer so much more to the party. A wizard offers so much to the party because of the fact that it can just learn any spell. Like, oh, I'm going to learn this spell. Now I can knock on door. I can knock every door we ever want to kind of go through and stuff. Like, obviously that's like a little facetious and it's kind of like exaggerating.
They're limited by their number of spell slots.
Right. But
but that's all they get. They don't get a bunch of features at each and every level. They get more spell slots.
Mm-hmm. And it gets insane with the level of spells that you can cast at these later levels. But I like the fact that you get Eldritch evocations now at first level, because that's going to make you feel good. And you get one, right? It's not like you're getting like a whole lot, but you get one, right, which is good. I do not like the fact that they took away Hexmaster. I thought Hexmaster was great for the Warlock, because I think, and I don't know if they maybe moved it into a feat, which would be really cool. The fact that maybe you can like cast Hex, on a short rest without expending a long rest without expending a spell slot. And because it's kind of like an ideal spell for like all Warlocks. And like when I think of a Warlock, being able to cast Hex would be great. And you have to kill the target before you can move it to another thing. So it's not like it's an omni-powerful spell. You can only have one Hex at a time. You can't upcast it. So not having Hex kind of feels rough, if you ask me. So them taking away Hexmaster kind of sucks when you boil it down to it. The Pact, and this is the big change that we were talking about. Now that your pacts are now built into your evocations, I don't like that, because of, like you're saying, because they have forgotten the fact that in Tasha's you have the world's dumbest feat. It is the world's dumbest feat. The fact that you can just like, oh, you know what? I'm going to make a slimy deal, offer nothing, and get ultimate power in return. Yeah, that's bullshit. Let's just keep on with that one. Glad we agree. So now you can take it and get Pact of the Tome and Pact of the Blade. If you mix that in with like fighters, paladins, clerics, war clerics, this is going to be dangerous and stuff like that because now you're level 4 with magic weapons and stuff like that. So things that should be a challenge to you at level 4. Let's say you're fighting vampire fledglings or something like that. You're going to run into this issue of now, like, these are supposed to be harder fights, but now they're easier fights because now you have guys that are going to be taking these magic weapon, and stuff like that. I don't like the fact that that's not a warlock only feature in its class. Like, that was cool.
Well, where it also gets dangerous is if you use it with a paladin, because it has the option of, instead of using strength,
charisma. Yep.
Charisma modifier. So now a paladin takes that feat at 4th level and is now smiting with a +5.
You've pretty much just given great
damage
weapon
modifier.
master. Yeah, you've pretty much given great weapon master to your paladin without actually trying to give him great weapon master. I don't think that was a wise decision from Wizards. That one shouldn't have been the way it was. It really should have been leave it as like a level 3 thing, kind of like, because now what are you really getting as a level 3 warlock? You're getting I know I'm scrolling through here, viewers, and I do a warlock subclass.
I don't mind it being at level 1 as a warlock, but you need to take the level as it needs to have a prereq of being a warlock. That would fix it, because anything that has a prereq you can't take with the Tasha's feat.
Yeah.
So these 2 feats specifically need to have a prereq that you are a warlock.
Yeah, that one I would be
of at
fine
least
with.
1 level. Or,
Yeah, because that way you'd have to take it, and then you couldn't take it to level 4. I don't.
Yeah, which would, I mean, it'd push it at least to level 5 in that case, which would,
And what they did to replace it with, because you used to get your packed weapons at level 3, your packed or your tome or your fiend at level 3. Now they've replaced it with your patron stuff, and now it's when you're getting your patron spells, your extra spells that you were going to get, because you don't get a whole lot of spells as a warlock. Now they're wiping that slate clean.
Yeah,
and saying,
thematically,
no,
I don't like getting the patron at level 3.
it doesn't make sense. Like, you already have your patron.
Who'd you make your deal with?
You already have your patron at level 1. You just don't get the benefits of it until level 3, which somewhat makes the sense. But the fact that you're not getting any of the spells, let's say you're taking the Archfey, you get the Calm Emotions, Fairy Fire, Misty Step, Phantasmal Force, and Sleep at level 3. Like, that's just like a huge step that you're like, those spells, like, you should already have some spells at level 1 that your patron's already giving you a little bit of power.
Yeah.
Like,
By level 3,
you do
Sleep
have
has become
you're already
basically
casting
useless.
2 spells at level 1, but the fact that they're not your patrons, where did these spells come from?
Yeah. And we're like, you should be given a little bit of power, because you got to think about it. When you're a warlock, you're lust for you're trying to get power from somebody else. So they kind of got to give you a taste of it, like a little bit of taste, something of, like, it's like buying drugs from somebody. The first one's always free, so that way they get you hooked, so you come back to buy more. And you're not really getting that anymore now that you're at first level. Now that they have taken away the levels and stuff from the original of, we're going to be doing level 1, you get a couple of spells, and it's not like great spells. Like, one of them, not the Archfey, I want to say the Fiend gives you Burning Hands. It's either the Fiend or the old one gives you Burning Hands. And so you have that, and it's kind of like your little taste of power. And it's like, man, I can cast Burning Hands. This is amazing. I wonder what I'm going to get down the line. But now if you're like, I've kind of been level 1 to level 3, and this is kind of like, meh, these spells that I already have kind of blow ass. And then you finally get there, and I'm going to tell you, if you took the Fiend or you took the Archfey, you kind of feel like, I don't know, I like Misty Step, but Calm Emotions and stuff like that as a warlock, I don't care if you're angry. I'm just going to blow you off this cliff. Boop, you're dead. And that's my whole version of that one. So,
Well, the person who makes a deal with a fairy versus the person who makes a deal with a demon are very different.
yeah, pretty much. After the baby comment, I'm pretty sure I'm the guy that was making a deal with the demon. I'm like, all right, cool, nunchucks. I just
but
don't.
They're the legends too, though. Like, if you make a deal with a fae, kind of like making a deal with the demon, where, like, they'll steal your shadow, or they're going to screw you over in some way.
Was I really using my shadow to begin with, though? Let's just be honest. It was
But
only there.
I'm just saying it's a different kind of a deal, and I just don't see this new. They're doing. They took what was popular spell wise, the Misty Escape and those kind of things, and have kind of built the entire class around it. Is what basically they said in the video, the subclass I should say around it for the Fae, and I think they're missing the point of what a Fae warlock would be.
I think they're just missing the whole point of being a fae in general. Like,
Yeah, it should have been more of like the trickster cleric, um,
I
where
do like.
you're bound to the mischievous, uh, you know, craziness that is the Fey realm, rather than
Yeah.
yeah, the
I do like the fact that they added the celestial warlock into it though. Like
yeah.
that's a good one that they brought over from Xanthar's, because I thought that was a really cool warlock for a little while. Like I changed my mind on it after our last time when we were talking about it, how I didn't think celestial warlocks I still don't think that celestial warlocks really work out, but I do like what they bring in terms of healing. I like to see new healing classes that we were not like focused on the cleric or the
Well,
cleric.
and the celestial warlock does what it's supposed. Unlike the Fey, the celestial, you've made a deal with an angel. You know, most demon. I mean, in mythology, demons are fallen angels, so angels should have that same ability to make deals
I kind of
that
like
demons do.
I kind of like the supernatural version of angels, that angels are just as big of assholes as
Yeah,
demons are. And
yeah,
that's kind of where that's how I feel. And so I think that they could kind of be just as vengeful and just as big of dicks. But I like that they brought this one over because I like the idea of getting your warlock to be able to do something more than just like run in and do damage. I still don't like the fact that you have to wait till level 3 to get cure wounds. I'm going to tell you, if I'm getting cure wounds at level 3, I feel kind of jaded. Like that could have been a very much a level 1 spell
yeah.
versus a level 3 one. I do
Yeah,
like
I
Flames
really
Cure.
don't like the patrons being at level 3. That completely, that would be like making your cleric pick their divinity
Well,
at
I mean,
level 3. That just it wouldn't make sense.
you kind of, I think we're kind of skipping that because Pact Magic, yeah, well, you would technically have your patron to begin with. To create a warlock, consult the following list, which provides hit points, proficiencies, armor training, starting level 1, 4 go, spend 100 gold piece. Yeah, nothing in here actually says to pick your patron.
I
Yeah,
So like,
mean,
who do
because you
you
don't technically
who do
until
you
level 3.
who do you own? Yeah, who do you own who owns your soul is a good question to ask this. Like in that, you're right. And that thematically, not even just like systematically, thematically, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Bolg?
well, I was gonna say maybe they're trying to explain it thematically that you made some kind of bargain for power, but you don't know to who until 3rd level.
No, you would know who you sold your soul to. Like that's a
No,
pretty
not
big deal.
necessarily.
That's
Well,
kind of a
you
big
may not
deal.
know the name, or you may not, but you would know the flavor.
Yeah. Yeah. You like
Was this some being of darkness and evil? Was it a fluffy fairy? Was it a a
you show it's like
angel?
show
Was it there's a fourth one. What's the fourth?
it's like showing up to college and
The
trying to get like picked
great
up
old
in,
Oh,
one
the
is the
great
fourth
one.
one.
Was it Cthulhu?
yeah, Cthulhu. But it's like
Well,
showing up to
it's-
college.
It's like just a trickle of magic, and then your patron shows up and says, "Hey, did you like that? I can give you more."
Yeah, but you would know that still. Like you would kind of get that feeling of where you're at the beginning. Like it's like showing up to college, getting ready to join a fraternity, and you go through. You're like, okay, well, I'm going to try out a little bit of everybody, but I like this one the best. Like you may not know who the head of the fraternity is, who you just sold your soul to, but you know that you're in the Phi Delta Kappa, who the hell ever's, and you're like, all right, cool, man. When am I getting spanked so I can get this over with? That's the kind of idea that you're missing with this warlock right now, that it's not, you're
And
not knowing who's in charge.
and every warlock deal, yeah, it could be a little bit. There may be a case out there where the patron hid who he was when you made the deal.
Okay, I'll
But
give you.
There are other patrons. You met the devil at the crossroads. You specifically went to the crossroads at midnight on the 13th of the right day, time, whatever. that the devil's going to be there to give you that golden fiddle.
Yeah.
It's a devil in that case.
The way I was gonna say it is that you wake up one morning and there's a Glock on your bedside table. You pick up that weapon, you learn to use it, you become proficient with it.
There is a Glock already on my side of the bedside table. I'm just
it wasn't there before, and now it's there. You've never owned a pistol, but it's
my
there. Gun? But then you prove you're proficient. Eventually, either a member of the police force comes by, a paramilitary group who's looking to take over control.
You accusing me of being a
anarchists, just general like terrorists. They show up. One of them saying, "Hey, we gave you that gun. We show you that you've learned how to use it proficiently. Do you want to join and learn how to use better guns?"
So I want to make this counter argument to your argument. You're telling me guys are just randomly going to come into my house and give me guns? Where the hell is this real deal? Because I'm going to take it right now, because it's going to be like.
But that's the thing. That is one scenario that they are applying to every warlock across the board.
The more common sense thing is somebody's going to go, where the hell did this gun except for me. I'm going to be like, cool, free gun. And somebody else is going to be like, hey, where the hell did this gun come from? They're going to call people and go figure out. They got to
exactly. And then you're not a warlock.
That would still make you a warlock because you got the gun. They gave you the gun. That was the idea. Now you have the gun.
Give the gun away.
I mean, but then you wouldn't be a warlock. And then
exactly.
Okay, but you would still know where the gun. You're still going to want to know where the gun comes from. You're not just going to go out randomly searching with a gun out, going, "Hey, is this anybody's gun?" No, you're going to try and figure out. It doesn't make sense, man. It really doesn't. You should at least know who your patron is. You should get that taste of power, because the taste of power is the gun. And it should be like, okay, well, I want to be my warlock. There was a fiend. It doesn't have to be Cthulhu or the Great Old One. It doesn't have to be Cthulhu incarnate coming out of this one. No, it just has to be some dude who's just, he looks like the judge from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And he shows up and he's like, or no, what's the guy from Willy Wonka? There it is. Willy Wonka is the best example of this. The guy who's like, if you can get me an everlasting gobstopper, I will give you money. That's the idea of it showing up. You don't know till the end that he actually worked for Willy Wonka.
Or it could be Willy Wonka.
Yeah. And that's
you made a deal with a guy that looks like a normal guy, but he's really the devil. That's
and
that's what I'm saying. It's like, you're like, okay, I could definitely use some money. So what do I got?
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. I'm with you guys. This sucks.
Yeah, because
giving them
at level 1, you're getting an invocation, 2 cantrips, 2 spells.
That power had to come from somewhere.
And a single spell slot. Let's just go with that.
One spell
That's
slot.
Stupid. That's stupid. But yeah, I'm going to tell you that power has to come from somewhere.
You've got all that, but you have no patron yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's stupid.
But
I'm
you
trying
got all
to
that power from that
explain it away.
And then at 3rd level, you decide you like fairies better. And take it back to the fairy at 3rd level.
Cthulhu, come over here. We got to talk.
Yeah.
All right, man. I love you and all. Your power is great and all, but fairy boy, man. It's just it's like a hot chick, and it's just like
the summer queen just has the biggest jugs you ever.
Cthulhu's like, God damn it, this is like the 5th one in a row. I gotta stop recruiting men.
All 4 of them gather up, and it's just like a Cthulhu monster, a devil, an angel, and then just a hot chick with giant jugs. Everybody's going with a hot chick with a giant
everybody's
jugs.
going with the hot chick with jugs. They're like, we really have got to stop recruiting men at this point. Can we just like can we get like a bull or some kind of like somebody that just doesn't see the attraction in her? I don't know. Put a box over or something.
That's when they just start sending the hot ones. Like the hot devil, the hot angel, and the hot
all of a sudden
monster.
They send succubuses to recruit.
It's the college example all over again. We're trying to get into the fraternity that's next to the sorority, not the one that's on the far side of campus. Oh man, I that's what I'm saying. Like this whole patron thing just blows ass. Like it's like the dumbest. I wouldn't say it's even the dumbest thing. I think the dumbest thing that they've changed to the warlock is making the packs part of evocations, and you don't have to take it at the 1st level, which is really nice, but that's still stupid.
Yeah. Well, I like the idea of taking the packs as invocations, but they need to put security measures in there to make sure it's only a warlock.
So then just make it a warlock only thing and bring it back to level 3 and flip your patron back to level 1. Like, it's okay to have that. Like, the warlock, it worked out very well in the beginning. So why does it need to be changed now?
Because even a Pact of the Blade warlock who's using agonizing blast as prime, then he can pull out his sword.
Well, there's
maybe the Pact of Tone. Yeah,
there's an evocation.
When he gets to level 2, and he has 3 evocations, he could have the blade, the tome, and agonizing blast at level 2.
I don't think you should be able to take both, all of them like that. Like, I think you should only be able to take one or the other, and I don't think there's actually a
you're by doing that, you're giving up the other evocations that you would be able to take at that level.
Yeah, but I think you should like really only have like one or the other. Like, you really should be able to have like both.
At level 5, Eldritch Smite.
Yeah, I just don't see
which.
I just don't see the
Eldritch Spear, so you can push them back.
Oh, I like Eldritch Spear.
Yeah, you're giving that up for the tome, which is just giving you a couple little extra cantrips and the ability to cast rituals. Because it is a trade-off. So I don't mind that, because you are trading off.
I'll tell you that Eldritch Spear doesn't do what you think it does, because they changed it to what it used to be, and now it actually is a lot cooler than what it used to be.
One of the warlock cantrips deals damage in range at least 10 feet when you cast, but increase the number of feet 30 times your warlock level.
You get to be that's real. You're an
that's the artillery. Yeah, that's the artillery one.
Now you're like,
I was thinking the lancing one.
I know which one you're talking about. It's not that one, but this one's funny because now you're like, now you get to be the hand of your patron. You're like, you know what? I feel like smiting a peasant today. Boop, Eldritch Spear, Eldritch Blast, and just like, you know what, honey? Today's the day. I'm going to make great deals and do good things out there, and everything going to be all right. Nothing can get John J. Bad Luckenstein down.
720 feet away from a level 20 warlock. Without sharpshooter or
spell sniper,
that's
which doubles that range.
Oh man, that would just be hilarious. You're just like, I really hope
1,440 feet away.
I hope I really don't hit John J. Bad Luckenstein. That guy, he's a good dude.
And at level 20, you're hitting what, 5 of them?
Oh man, I'm just gonna smite an entire village. That is some real warlock level stuff right there. I like it. Oh man, some of them are good. Like, some of them are really great. Allow you gain a skill that lacks prerequisites.
I do like that they have dropped the skill levels required for some of the weaker. Yeah, they used to have some of them that were really silly. Like Ascendant
Devil's
Step.
Sight, that one was really silly.
Well, Ascendant Step, which all it does is it lets you cast Levitate without a spell slot. That is all it does. It used to be a level 15 prereq as an invocation. You can get Fly as a 3rd level spell at level 5.
Yeah, you can.
But you couldn't Levitate. Oh, it's unlimited. It's too powerful.
What am I going to do?
It's not that powerful. You're levitating. You're not.
You still have to be above something.
Down.
You still have to be above
it's
something.
An elevator spell.
Oh.
Now, although you could, you levitate up, and if they don't have any ranged weapons, you just sit there and.
Yep.
I'm smiting people from space again.
Yeah. So I'm not saying it's not strong, but it's not level 15 strong.
Mom, I'm out here to avenge Dad, John J. Bad Luckenstein. I'm gonna go out there and be an adventurer.
Oh no, it was level 9. Sorry, it was level 9, not level 15. Master of Myriad Forms is the one they dropped from level 15. Which the Master of Myriad Forms, I believe that's the one that lets you cast Alter Self, which is another 1st level spell.
Yeah, some of them are just lame. Like, I'm going to tell you, they really need to like take 5 minutes and do a whole thing of new evocations, because some of the evocations really do suck ass. Like, that's it. But you know what sucks? What really sucks ass? And this is the end of the episode.
And
Dun, dun, dun.
You like what I did there. This is the end of the show. I appreciate everybody who's hung out here with us. Make sure you go and like and subscribe to us wherever you're watching, getting this podcast. You can definitely head over to the Facebook page where we drop all our information when we're doing new episodes, when new things are coming up. Chef Bolgg and the Pirate Captain's recipes for everything. Here is our Facebook page. It's very simple. Chef Bolgg and the Pirate Captain, YouTube page. I'm an idiot. But you can subscribe and follow us here. We always are trying to put out new content. I even did a video. I haven't done anything of playing Baldur's Gate 3 recently. I really need to get back into that, especially the playthrough with me and Mr. Producer. Like I said, he took his 1 day off a year. Expect to see him back soon. So we will be back here in a couple of weeks. We look forward to. Remember, this is a bi-weekly podcast. Somebody was asking about that the other day. They was like, hey, don't you guys do a weekly episode? Nope, bi-weekly. Two episodes a month for a full hour. With that being said, say goodbye, Bolgg.
goodbye, Bolgg.
Say goodbye, Luke.
See ya.
See you guys.
You've been listening to Chef Bolgg and the Pirate Captain's Recipes for Everything, featuring Loke the Bard. Like, follow, subscribe, and share this podcast. You can also find them on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Just search for Chef Bolgg and the Pirate Captain's Recipes for Everything. Questions, comments, and mutiny requests can be sent to bolgandpc@gmail.com. And as always, happy adventures.